Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time on Saturday to be here with me. I'm so glad that you made the time. I've made it back to my hometown. I'm not quite home yet. I actually had to come borrow my sister's house to do this since I'm still transitioning home after my flight bump yesterday. I'm still running a little bit behind, but luckily I called my sister and told her I promised my people that I would be on at 1 p.m. Pacific time. My flight landed an hour ago. So I asked her, can I please use your house? My house is a 45-minute drive. So can I just please use your house? I'm not going to get to my studio on time. So my sister was gracious enough to let me borrow her house to record this video for you guys. Told you I would show up no matter what. And that is what it is, right? That's what we have to do as leaders. We have to show up no matter what. Even when our plane one flight got canceled, the other one I got bumped off of, we still show up. So for those of you who are joining me for the first time, if you've missed the rest of the series, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the CEO and founder of Childcare Business Professionals and the host of the Childcare Business Coach podcast. I am also a childcare center owner myself. I'm looking to build a new one, acquire centers. I do a lot when it comes to early childhood. I work with owners all over the world, actually, to help them build successful childcare centers. But I don't only work with owners. If you were on yesterday's recording, you saw that I also work with directors. We help train directors, just help them really navigate the business ends of things in early childhood education. So I thank you for taking the time out this week. Your time is very valuable. I was reading an article this morning that really illustrated the importance to me to bring this to you. I actually shared it in our Facebook group and on my personal page, so take a look at it. A center in the town I'm in now, in Reno, Nevada, actually had to close down. It is a commercial center. It's a corporate center, basically due to a lack of employees. But what really struck me about this one is that their employees actually all left together. They had one big, massive departure of employees. And where the article was really focused on talking about this poor industry, this poor center, my first thought was, well, how are they treating their employees? If people are going to do a mass walkout together and you can't retain employees, this is not a hiring issue. This is not an industry issue. This is a retention issue. And it's obvious that they just didn't take care of their staff. All of the things I've been teaching you guys this week does not only pertain to recruiting, but it pertains to retaining, because you can recruit and recruit all you want. But if you have a culture in your center where people are going to get up and walk out on you together like that, you have a problem. You have a big problem. That is a problem with leadership, not a problem with our current times. It's not a problem with the hiring market. That is a leadership problem. So I challenge you to reach out to your concierge if you haven't already, and ask how you can work with us, because that is what we work on. We make your environments better, right? You guys heard Terry yesterday. We helped her with some complications last month to really elevate one of her centers. She actually owns multiple sites. So we're really trying to basically elevate you as early childhood leaders, right? So please let us know if there's something you would like to know about our membership. Again, we do have some specials going on, but for the price we charge, it is a steal for everything that I give you. My business coach thinks that I should double my prices, but I want to leave them reasonable enough for early childhood professionals. I really, really want to just be there to help. So today I'm doing live question and answers. I will also still be doing the Tuesday open Zoom meeting where we can basically come in and you'll get to experience what it's like to be in my office hours on Tuesday. So make sure you join us Tuesday. That one's going to be big because we'll be in Zoom. I get to see your face, you get to see mine, and we get to actually talk. I get to hear your voices, which is so nice. It gets lonely on this side of the camera, so I really, really like doing the Zoom thing. So I'm going to be answering questions today, right now, actually, that were submitted to my team, your concierge, throughout this week. Now, I know a lot of you haven't had time to do the sessions throughout the week last week. So hopefully you're binge watching this weekend of all of the different sessions. There were 5 sessions altogether on the Creative Recruiting Bootcamp that you want to watch. They're in the main Facebook group under the units. I know we're also streaming to LinkedIn and to YouTube, so they are there as well. So make sure you catch up. All of those recordings, all of the resources, they come down on Tuesday. I'll tell you what, I'm also going to allow you guys, for those of you who haven't had a chance, who couldn't make it, we are doing a giveaway. It's already closed for the $50 Amazon gift card. So that you had to watch Monday through Friday to be in the drawing for that. But if you send your concierge the entire phrase by Monday night, we can still give you the PDF I'm giving away. If you're watching all the replays this weekend and you're catching up, you're going to see that if you send the phrase, I'm giving out a word of the day every day. If you send the phrase to your concierge, you're going to get a PDF version of the verbiage I use when I'm posting job openings for my own childcare center, right? It's going to go along with all of the things we talked about yesterday. So if you are still using things like Indeed, Monster, Facebook, even Craigslist, it'll give you a different way of saying things. I talked to you guys last week about how there's literally 1,000 job openings that these people are scrolling through. How are you going to get everybody's attention, right? If you have 1,000 different people that are literally trying to hire just like you, how are you standing out from the crowd? So we're giving away the verbiage that I use in job postings. Hopefully you don't have to post jobs. We actually did for the first time in years a couple weeks ago, but hopefully you won't have to. But this is really going to help you attract the right people. So today we're going to get into questions that were coming all week last week. If you didn't get a chance to submit your question and you still have a question for me, put it in the chat. I do have my chat open today so that I can really go through and answer those questions. And Moira just asked, one of my team members just asked, how are you standing out from the crowd? So why don't you let us know in the chat, how are you standing out from the crowd? Even if you're doing the replay, let me know, how are you standing out from the crowd, right? How are you standing out and really making yourself that category of one? So I will get right into it. I know it's Saturday. My team would probably like to get on with their Saturday. I would like to get on with our, and I'm sure you guys too. It's Saturday. We need to go out there and do some self-care, right? There will be nothing tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to go dark. We'll just have our day of quiet and definitely do some self-care tomorrow. And then Monday, I will still do my Mindset Monday like always, but I am actually also going to be live at 1 p.m. for a bonus session. Do you guys see my sister's adorable little dog there? He's so cute. I just saw him in the camera. Oh, he's so cute. So cute. That's her new puppy. So it's not a puppy. It's a new rescue. He's adorable. But and then so I will be live again for Mindset Monday, like I'm every Monday morning, and then at 1 p.m. on Monday also for a bonus section. And then Tuesday, the bonus session that we're doing is going to be the live closed door Zoom. And if you get to sign up for our Mastermind before next week, on Tuesday, every Tuesday, I am available to my members for office hours. We do an office hours every Tuesday and every Wednesday where you can just jump in and we work on whatever problem you have together, right? If you join, you can also already get in with one of our master coaches. You get every month, you get to work with a master coach. So whether you would like to work with Prina Richards, who is, everybody knows her as the classroom guru, right? She is like the classroom and behavior whisperer. You can work with Prina. You can work with Lisa on your human resources. We have a new financial advisor on that is next level, you guys. Becca is next level. You could work with her. If you need some life coaching, you can work with Christina. There's so many people we have available to you. If you want to, we can get you started as soon as next week. We also have training next week. Every Thursday, we have training. So if you would like to get started with us immediately, be on our open office hours Tuesday and Wednesday and on the training, go ahead and let your concierge know. Let's get you started now. Don't waste any more time being alone out there. You don't have to be alone. There's a team here waiting to come alongside you and help you. I know what it feels like to just have that hopeless feeling and just to feel like nobody understands. I've been there. I understand. I've almost gone bankrupt in my childcare center twice. I've told you guys earlier this week, there was a time where I literally got an eviction notice from my center and I was able to overcome it. And it's that journey that led me to do this, to really just help those of you out there that are still in that desperate, lonely place and help you get your dream back, right? Just to be able to live that dream. You started as an early childhood leader for a reason. You probably were passionate about children, but somewhere along the lines you got disillusioned, and it's heartbreaking. So we want to help you get your dreams back. So talk to your concierge, get more information. We would love to see you. I would love to see you on office hours next week. So let's see, I just had my center is a true family community. We support each other. Staff always, yes, I love it. The center should be a true family community. And I'm sorry, it doesn't tell me your name. It just tells me Facebook user since I'm on StreamYard streaming to multiple platforms. If you give StreamYard permission, I can see who you are. But right now I can't. But I agree. Your center should be a family community. And when it is, you probably retain your employees pretty well, right? You probably don't have the problem that that center in Reno is facing where you have a mass walkout and now they have to close their doors out of nowhere. They literally contacted parents and said, we're closing as of tomorrow. It would happen overnight. So that is why we need to make sure we are that category of one, right? But there's a lot to that. That's why I have a 6-month onboarding program. That's why my new hire training is so intensive, right? And it doesn't cost me any more. I've figured out a way that it does not cost me anymore. So you can do that too. There's ways that we can really get our centers in line. So if you're having a hard time with your employees or your parents, if you have parents who haven't paid their bill, you're having a hard time with collections, that is something we help you with. That is something that we can really come in alongside you and teach you how to break those cycles. It doesn't have to happen. When I wasn't doing well, I had $16,000 in bad debt one year. And when I saw that, it just blew my mind. Now, I should have seen it before. I should have known as we were going, but it wasn't until tax time that I knew that I had lost $16,000 to parents that used our service but never paid. That should have never happened. Should not happen. You shouldn't have any children in your center if their parents aren't paying, right? But I know a lot of times you don't know how to manage that. So that's some of the things that we do. We help you learn, how do you make sure that doesn't happen anymore? How do you address it? How do you stop it, right? Are you struggling with your staff? Do you have staff that just downright doesn't listen, doesn't show up? Are your call-ins out of control? Do you have staff that are calling in constantly? If you do, we can help you with that. It doesn't have to be that way. A lot of us as leaders, we had a passion for children. We were moms, we were teachers, and we went into this leadership, but we know nothing about running a business. And that is what you're doing. If you're a director, you are managing a business. If you're an owner, you are running a business. But for some reason in early childhood education, we're conditioned to think that we can't look at our centers as businesses, right? Even as owners, we're conditioned to think that we're not allowed to make money, that it's not okay. But we need to stop that mindset completely. We need to completely stop and start treating this like businesses, because that is what we are. And you owners out there, you have the right to make money. No other industry opens a business and then the owners are shamed for making money, right? That it is ridiculous, especially with the stress and pressure and all of the liability that an owner is taking on. They should not be shamed when they turn a profit, right? We deserve our income too. We work very hard. So it is just stuff that we need to change our relationship with money. We really need to see it from a different light. I do actually have a Mindset Monday that I've done about that as well. So I have tons of different ones that I've done, but I do have one that's all about mindset money. I probably should do a lot, or mindset on money, not Monday. But I should do more on that because it is a lot. It's a big topic. So let me get into the questions with you guys. So somebody's asking me to describe my onboarding process. My onboarding process is probably my number one biggest thing that everybody wants, right? It's big, and I don't give this away because, first of all, my members pay for access to it. It's just one of the many, many things they pay for. But the other thing is you need to be trained on it, right? So when you become one of my members, you get my onboarding, but you also get the training on how to turn it into your own, and you also get training on how to implement it and keep it going, right? So basically, I'll give you kind of a bird's eye view of it. We do every day for the first 30 days of employment, the staff is going to be given an assignment, right? The new staff member. The teachers are trained to help guide them through. So these are assignments they're going to complete throughout the day. There's questions, there's a lot of different things that it's going to really lead them throughout the day to learn the things you want them to learn, right? Every Friday, you're going to look over what your new hire did and go over it with them, right? So what we're doing too for directors is we're helping you to make sure that you're getting those touch points. According to statistics, people decide within the first 6 months if they're really going to be a part of a team. And this is more of a subconscious decision. It's not a conscious decision, right? If you can fully assimilate somebody and bring them into your culture, right? That's when they become a part of your family or your community, right? You get that strong community. 6 months is the key. We have got to get them really, really just to fall in love with your vision, right? And to turn them into that employee that you want them to be within that first 6 months. It's vital. And you're not going to do that if you're not like talking to them, but not just talking to them. Pulling them in and just having a conversation is not enough. You have to be intentional. You have to ask the right questions. You have to really just care authentically. But that's where my psychology degree comes in. The way I've created my 6-month onboarding process does, not only are we guiding them and teaching them the way you want your center to go, right? So you're creating your culture and your brand intentionally with each new hire, but you're also bonding with them. You're leading them to become a part of your vision, right? You're getting to know them, they're getting to know you on a professional level, and you're helping to really bring them in. And that is where I've trickled in what I know about the human brain into, okay, so we have these people who know what they're doing, but do they have the passion? Do they have the buy-in? Are they really married to this vision like I am, right? That is the other part of my onboarding. So that first 30 days is pretty intense. You're meeting weekly. Then after that, you're going to be meeting monthly. The meetings are guided. It's all forms that the directors will be filling out. There's portions that the employees will receive. There's portion that only the director will see, right? For owners, that also helps you to keep your director accountable. Okay, and accountability is key. So with this onboarding, I can go in and make sure that my director is following through and she's really doing this onboarding process. The assistant director can do it as well, right? It doesn't have to per se be a director, but somebody in management has to be doing this. They have to be implementing this process. So very important process, and it's big. I mean, anytime you have a 6-month onboarding, it's not a small process by any means. But that's kind of a bird's eye view of my onboarding process. Okay, so the next question, let me open this up a little bit bigger. I think I cannot see all of the question here. So, let me see. I'm sorry, guys, it got cut off a little bit. When spreadsheet I'm working off of did not make it more than one line. When you are doing intentional firing to replace the new people, how do you communicate with new people your plan so they don't go and want to quit? When you see when they see a negative Nelly or somebody who is not following policy without just saying you're going to be firing a bunch of people before they even know you're firing them. So I'm not sure, and let me see who wrote this. Hopefully, April, you're on here so you can clarify a little bit on this question. But this question's from April. Basically, you shouldn't get to that point to begin with. And I know you might already be there, but that again is where you need our membership, because we can help you overcome being where you are. So now if you are there, I do understand you're going to have to do some housekeeping, right? And if you're doing this housekeeping, that means you will, kind of like what I think you're saying, you are going to have to fire some people as you're bringing new people in, because we have to still make ratios, right? I am all about transparency, all about transparency. So if you get these higher level people in, I would be honest, but I would be honest very carefully, right? I would just say that you are leveling up your center. And in the process of leveling up, you are really working on leveling up your staff, okay? And I'm going to tell you in the first person how I would say it. If I were talking to you, what I would say is, we're going through leveling up. I know that my center can always be better. I know we can be a better company all the time, but that means that we have to constantly grow, which also means my staff has to constantly grow. Sometimes people are very happy where they're at, and they really don't want to grow. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is their personal option, and they have to do what is right for them. But unfortunately, when that happens, that means that there's some people who we will have to part ways with. We're in one of those transition periods now. And as I hope all my staff will grow with me, I realize that's not always the reality. So I just caution you, because some of the people will not like this next level that we're going to. And then you can elaborate a little bit, like turn it into a conversation and elaborate on what does that mean going to the next level. One of the biggest things I have to caution you is when you're going through one of these phases, do not, just really be careful, and do not put your new staff members in with the person that is toxic, right? Toxicity is like a cancer. It will spread, guaranteed, every single time. So if you want someone to learn the right way the first time, do not put them with somebody who has bad habits. You need to be more intentional about how you're onboarding. And this is something we go through in our onboarding training. We have specific trainers. So even though the person is counting in ratio for those first 30 days, I'm making sure that they're with somebody for a specific reason. Like my infant teacher is excellent at her interactions, right? So if they're doing the week that really is on interactions and how do you interact with the children properly, then I'm going to set her up with Kirsten, because that's what she does so well. So that's basically how you want to look at it, is keep them away from the person that is toxic, okay? You're just going to spread the cancer, right? And then I would say, get rid of that toxic person as soon as possible. What I've seen over and over and over, and if any of my members are here or if they watch the replay, you guys can comment on this. Every single time we have this kind of issue where there is a cultural problem in a center, it comes down to the same thing. I tell them, you have a ringleader. There is one person, and sometimes two, but very, very rarely, who is really setting the stage for this. They are bringing everybody along with them, right? If you can just purge that one toxic person, most of the time, your center will start to flow again. The problem is that negativity really spreads, and it really just becomes a part of your program. It's almost to the point where I'm sure some of you have felt it. When you walk into the building, you just feel that tension, right? And you let go of that one person, and suddenly the atmosphere is just lighter and it's better. And it's really just because we've got to get rid of those toxic people. They are poisoning your good employees. I guarantee it, right? And I had one teacher specifically that I adore. She's been with me since before I was even at Zoo and Around, at my first center I owned. She moved over with me, and she was in with a toxic teacher for a couple of years, and that was before when I used to put up with this stuff, and when I had a center that sounded like what you described, April. And basically, I thought she was toxic too. I really thought that she was also a toxic teacher just because of her attitude, how she was. But after the toxic teacher left, it was so different. It's just people conform to what's around them. And a lot of times that negativity and toxicity is also bringing that person down, right? So when you're constantly around somebody who's toxic and who's negative like that, that negativity, it just really kills your own mindset, right? So when you can purge that toxic person from your own life, you as an owner and director, you guys may be struggling with this yourselves, where you've just got the staff member. It could be, let's say, for example, you're the director and it's your assistant director, right? That constant negativity is making everybody around them negative. It's not always really who they are. And one of the things I say, and I'm going to tell you guys right now the same thing. When you think of that one person who's a ringleader, I'm sure every single one of you who's struggling with this, a name popped in your mind. That person needs to go. They need to go, right? And it's hard. It's hard. People do change over the years too. I've had it where I've had amazing staff members who became the toxic person. They've gone through life events that they couldn't get past, right? And I'll tell you, I've gone through this where I feel so bad for them. But everybody chooses how they show up every day. Everybody chooses how they cope and how they get through something. It is in our control. You guys know my story. I lost my husband in July, but I get to choose how I'm going to show up, how I'm going to cope, how I'm going to deal with this, right? I'm going to choose if I'm going to be that negative person that expects everybody just to put up with me because I've gone through a tragedy. Or I'm going to choose if I'm going to be someone who shows up the way I'm supposed to show up, with a smile on my face, and I get my job done, right? That is what we get to choose. And so we a lot of times have to just let go of that shame and the feeling sorry for people because they are making their decisions. So, April, long answer, but basically, we shouldn't get to that point to begin with. But if you are in that situation, just be honest and start purging. Just be careful how you're honest, if that makes sense. So hopefully that made sense. Let me know in the comments, you guys. Okay, so the next question is Mary. Mary is asking, do you have a program for us just starting to open our center? In fact, we do. We are actually going to be starting a cohort that is just for people who are going to be opening a childcare center. So it's going to basically give you everything you need, those foundational pieces for your center. So if somebody in the chat, one of my girls, can let us know when that will be starting. We are taking people now. We have a huge list of people who want to get into this. So make sure you sign up as soon as possible. We have a lot of people who want to get into our foundation on starting a new center. So let us know. If that is something, let's see. Oh, yes, Mary's question. I'm making sure. So yes, Mary, we are starting a cohort June 20th. Thank you. Our building blocks program will be starting June 20th. And that is actually going to be for people who are potential owners. If you're in the process of building your first center or even expanding, you want this program. If you're within your first year of your center and you're having a struggle, you want in this program. We do have a special price point for that. You don't get access to everything in the Mastermind membership. We're just basically, these are the foundational pieces that you need, right? So let us know if that's something that you guys are interested in. It's called our building blocks, which will be starting June 20th. Let me see. Next question. Okay, there we go. Are situational questions during the interview process a good method to determine a potential new hire? They can be, yes. I love situational questions. So again, the interview process is something, again, I really turn to my psychology expertise on and what I know about the human brain, right? Sorry, guys. I'm waiting for my sister's dogs to, they are excited about something right now. So basically, with my, let me see, I'm sorry. The situational questions are actually really good. So from a psychological perspective, during the interview process, I like to shock people. And I want to, it's funny because I am not an intimidating person at all, nor, well, I guess, I don't know, I've been told I am, but I don't think I'm intimidating. But I try and intimidate during the interview process. This is something I train on. I do have a pre-recorded training on in my membership group. We already have trainings on this. I actually do give all of my members the questions I specifically have come up with that pertain to interviewing, right? I've literally, and I explain why. Some of them might seem weird. Like some of the questions you're going to be asking during the interview process might seem weird, but what we're really looking for is, who is this person really? You need to keep in mind when you're doing job interviews that these people are acting. They're actors right now. That you're not really seeing a person for who they truly are, right? They're saying everything that they think you want them to be, right? They're trying to be the person that you want them to be. They're not showing you their true self. We all do that. That is human nature. We're trying to get a job, right? So we're answering rehearsed question based on what we think you want to hear. We're not being honest and truthful. I mean, that is just who a person is. They're not going to come and show you they're ugly, right? And if they do, we don't want to hire them either, because that's just weird, right? So you need to ask questions that really get to the core of a person's character and to see who they really are, to make sure they didn't go on your website, learn your values, learn a lot about you, and then they're just regurgitating what they read. People watch YouTube videos to get ready for an interview. Just go onto YouTube and Google preparing for a job interview. There are thousands of videos that really help coach people on how to do a job interview. So you want to really ask questions that people normally wouldn't think of, and you want to really throw them for a loop, right? But you also need to know what you're looking for. One of the biggest things I'm looking for, because I don't want it in my center, is people who are prone to gossip. So I have specific questions that are going to tell you, they kind of, if somebody is like a chronic gossiper or they like to start trouble, I kind of set them up for that, right? Without them knowing I'm setting them up for that. So different things like that, and just knowing what to look for in these questions, because a lot of times people will answer what they think is an appropriate answer. They think it's totally right, but there's hidden messages between what they're saying. And that's where you're going to know, is this person going to be reliable and actually show up? Is this person going to be one of those people who causes problems and frictions because something is always wrong with them, and that negativity? But just remember, if you're doing your standard job interview, people are literally actors when they're in the interview process. They are wearing a mask. You're not seeing the real them. This is a much more complicated question, though, that I can get to, and I literally have like training videos that are over an hour on how to conduct a job interview. And that's the kind of thing that I'll continually train on, because it's something that we can't get too good at. Let me see. The next question is, how can I submit a request for using grant money for the program? So the first thing I would tell you is to speak to whoever it is running the grant program first. Looking at your grants, usually professional development is included, right? As part of the okayed usage of money. We just have to justify what is the professional development. So that is where what I've been doing is the invoice that I've created for other clients basically is just lays out exactly what we're going to be doing for you over the next year. And that's what we give you to submit. So it literally breaks down like director, if you're an owner, it's going to be like leadership development and training, early, and it is all early childhood specific, right? We can also provide you with certificates for our weekly trainings, depending on what state you're in. Not all states will accept them, but depending on your state. But it basically, what it is there is a proposal that we can also give you, where the proposal will actually say everything that is included and how that will help you level up as an early childhood educational professional. So what I would suggest you do is email whoever it is that's in charge of your grant and ask them to if professional development is included. If it is, then you can send the proposal and ask them if they will approve that, right? If this is an approved expense. So by the way, that question was from Sophie Garza, and the question before was Tiffany Cisneros. So hopefully you guys are on and you can see the answer to your questions. So that basically is the best thing to do. Get with your concierge. If you want to sign up for our program and you're trying to use grant funding, I will share with the document that I used for my what I've been using for my other clients that have been approved, who've gotten it approved through their grants. We can share that proposal with you guys, and we can customize it for you, right? What I would discourage you to do, though, on that front is don't wait for approval, because as time goes by, you really just don't want to lose this time. So email them, ask them, is this a possible, but be aware that you may get told no, right? I know I did a live training session for Northbrook Academy that is in Michigan, amazing staff out there. That was all paid for by the grant. They actually flew me out there to train their staff. We did an entire day session that was approved for the grant, but it's for professional development. That's what you're looking at. In our membership, I have hours of professional development trainings that you can just watch already, but we also do weekly professional development. So that's where it's getting approved, is under the realm of professional development. And then I know we also have a different grant program where Lisa, our HR specialist, is helping with HR. That's another one that we've actually been able to get approved as well. That has a different price point, though, just to let you guys know. Different price point than what we've charged for just the membership, because Lisa has to really get in there. Like it's a lot of work, a lot more intensive work. But if you don't have like your own policies, procedures, all of that you need work on, that's another option. But that is different, and that's more program development. Professional development, almost all the states I've seen, these grants have some provision for professional development. Program development might be a little bit different. That's a little bit more of a stretch, but if you really needed help coming up with those policy procedures, your parent, all of that stuff, that is something as well. Okay, so next one is, where am I supposed to be looking for my people? I know you mentioned Sunday school, but that is not an option for me to find potential staff. Kim, so that's for Kim Hartzell. So Kim, it's not just church, it's everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. The only thing I would say is just make sure you're consistent. You might go to Walmart, right? And you might see a cashier that every single time you go in, she is amazing with the children around her. She's friendly, she shows up, she looks clean, she looks like she takes care of herself, right? Those are the type of people that you want to approach. But be consistent. It's not going to be a one and done thing. Let me tell you, yesterday, I'll give you guys an example of somebody who is just off the cusp that I would have offered a job to. Yesterday, I got bumped. You guys, if you were following me yesterday, I got bumped off my flight to Reno. I was supposed to be home yesterday, and I got bumped off the flight and had to come home today instead. And the airline put me up in a hotel, but my luggage went home without me, right? It's the only time. I never travel without my luggage. I am so paranoid about not having my things, like at least one day worth, that I always keep them on carry-on. But I was tired. I didn't want to lug my carry-on, so I let them get, and then they were asking for people to gate check for free. So when I left Miami, I gate checked my carry-on, and then my connecting flight in Salt Lake, I got bumped off of. So, sorry guys. I got put up in a hotel, and when I was there at the front desk, I was telling the girl, I realized, like, as I'm checking in, that I had nothing. I had nothing, nothing, right? I mean, you guys know all the things, and I had nothing. And I just told her, like, oh my gosh, I have nothing. Is there a store within walking distance that I could go, like, get a toothbrush or something? And she told me, no, there's nothing around here. She said, you would have to Uber or take a taxi. But she was telling me, like, the closest store from the airport here is about 8 miles away. I'm like, oh, I was so tired. Like, what am I going to do? I'm so tired. I still have to work. What am I going to do? So that girl was like, well, hold on, give me a second. She goes rummaging through the back. They have a little shop in the store, and she puts together this little package for me. And it was so sweet. She had like a toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant, like very basic needs, right? And I was incredibly grateful. I was like, thank you so much. This is awesome. Went up to my room. I went live with you guys right after that, right? So right afterwards, I had a message on the phone. I listened, and she was asking me to come back down to the front desk. I went back down to the front desk, and she had this package put together for me. It was actually even in a gift bag, and it had socks, it had like clean socks, shampoo and conditioner that wasn't just the hotels, a razor, shaving cream, everything you could think of, right? She even had, like, because she knew I was stressed, so she even got one of those the ones that you can put in the refrigerator and put it over your eyes for eye tension. She got me a bath bomb with sugar scrub, like all these things to help make my stay better. That is somebody I would offer a job to on the spot, had she not lived hours away from my center, right? So the way she went so above and beyond, and she had somebody deliver the stuff to her, like went to the store, had them bring it. She told me it was a family member, and just gave me this stuff, just so above and beyond, right? I mean, she literally was thinking, okay, this poor woman has nothing. What can I get for her? But not only did she get me the bare essentials, but she also gave me things to help me relax. So that is somebody that kind of job integrity, going above and beyond. I was happy when she gave me toothpaste, toothbrush, and deodorant, right? But that tells me this is someone I want to work for me. So those are the kind of things that you're looking for, right? And just those consistencies that you see. It could be one of the moms at your center that you consistently see showing up for her children all the time. She's friendly, she's happy, she's always appreciative of your staff. So it doesn't have to just be somebody at the church. If you do van runs, look at the moms around there. Look at the lunch ladies. Look at like some of the parapros or the volunteers, right? When you're going out and about in the world, look at those people who go above and beyond. So we have one last question, everybody. Let me see. Okay, so ask if you have suggestions for call-ins. There are legitimate reasons staff are calling in. They have doctor's notes and deaths in the family, car accident. It's just a lot. We're starting to get paid holiday program and encourage attendance because someone is frequently calling out. They're great teachers, just sick a lot. That's from Lindsay. So Lindsay, regardless of whether they're legitimate reasons, you have to really train your staff on why it is so important for them to show up every day, right? They have to see your center as a whole. A lot of the times when this is happening, it's because you're not really showing your staff what it really means to stay in compliance, right? Put yourself in your staff's perspective, okay? They're in their one little classroom, and that's what they see all day, every day. They don't understand that you're trying to coordinate the entire building, right? They see their micro community of their classroom. Constantly be showing and reminding your staff that you are literally coordinating every staff member, every parent, every family, and it works together and it flows, right? It's this flow. You have to really get your staff, and this happens during the onboarding process. They have to understand why meeting ratios is so important, right? And they have to really understand how it affects everybody in the center when they're not in attendance. I know a lot of things sound legitimate, but are they really? Could they prearrange doctor's appointments, right? We do have a policy at Zuin where they have to prearrange any appointments 2 weeks in advance. And if a person already has that day off, they can't have that day off, right? So it's just future planning. Again, what's happening right now is you are in a state of being reactive instead of proactive. So think in terms of how can you proactively start helping teachers when it comes to these kind of things, right? A car accident, that is unavoidable. But I would also always ask for verification. Okay, always. I had one staff member who always seemed to have all these legitimate things happening, but when I asked for proof, suddenly they weren't real. So be cautious with that. The other thing is just people need to learn how to separate life from their work, right? And life happens to people. If you have an employee that's in a season of life where a ton of things are happening, you still have to put your center first. You still have to put the center first. And I know how hard that is. But sometimes when we let those people go, it's a relief to them too, right? We just actually went through that at Zuin, where we have somebody who is going through a season of life where they didn't really want to let us down, but the season they're in was so stressful that when we finally gave them permission, it was such a relief to walk away. But they were staying because they didn't want to let us down. Okay, so sometimes you might, if you're talking about the same person that's consistently having these issues, it might be a relief to just say, hey, maybe we both need to come to this understanding where your time with our company is over. We are more than happy to have you back later. This doesn't mean that you can't come back later, but we just understand we have to take care of the center, right? We have to stay in compliance and the rest of the staff. So on that, really having boundaries, you need clear and concise policies and you need to stick to them, right? You also need to have a system where if people are doing doctor's appointment, they're planning them in advance. They can't just have a doctor's appointment because they want to have a doctor's appointment. They have to plan it in advance, give you enough notice, and nobody else should be off. That should be in your policy. These are how you set up expectations. One of the days last week, either Monday or Tuesday, I talked about how the number one things that really turns employees off is a lack of expectations. Your problem here is they don't know their expectations. Your boundaries and your expectations are not clear, right? So just really get that in line. The other thing that I like to do too is an incentive program for those staff members who are showing up every single day. One of the things that we do is every quarter I give out a bonus and an extra mental health day off for my staff who've had perfect attendance, right? So I am not only having these policies and procedures in line to make sure everybody shows up, but I'm also rewarding them for complying. Now, basically, it's as long as they have no kind of, like if we haven't had to talk to them at all about anything, right? They get, and a lot of my staff gets it every single quarter. So we work on both ends where we have very clear expectations, right, that are documented policies, and basically so that they know they have to show up every day and we understand life happens. So there has to be some allowances there. We also have the expectations on, okay, I understand you're going to need to set appointments, but you need to give us time to plan and prepare, right? And then on the other hand, for those who don't miss any days, we also reward them for that. We do reward them as well. So it kind of goes both ways. If you can have a substitute, substitutes are great. Stay-at-home moms that are bringing their children for like the preschool program make great substitutes. We do have a substitute program at Zuin, and when we use our substitute, the teacher has to arrange the substitute. So when they're planning their days off, they have to get with the sub, and they have to basically arrange for them to be there. So I'm hoping that was helpful. Hopefully, I'm just going to scroll through the comments really quick to make sure I didn't miss any more questions. If anybody has any questions right before we end, let me know. We have about 6 minutes left. I'd be happy to answer any last burning questions that you guys have. while we wait for you guys to put anything, I'm just also going to encourage you again to get with your concierge. These are the kind of questions that we go through every single week. And I'm sure, like, when you hear the questions, especially if you're on the replay, you can think of 100 other questions now that you could ask, current situations you're dealing with at your center, or things that you have to overcome. These are the kind of things that we deal with every week during office hours. You can literally show up and we can work through these things together. So make sure that you join us. To be a member, it's only $497 a month. That is a steal for what we offer you guys. I can't even begin to tell you, my coaching program that I'm a part of literally costs me in the thousands a month, right? But I understand the value of having a coach. I will never not be without a business coach, somebody that is always someone I want to be at their level. So if you're watching me and you think, I want to be an owner like her one day, then you want to be in my coaching program. Finding that person that you want to be like one day, you want to really engross yourself in what they're teaching, right? Like if you watched Tara's interview yesterday, that's one of the things they were saying. They always hear my voice in their head now, and they're always like, well, Evelyn would say, that's how you get to that level. That's why I have a business coach, and I will always work with a business coach. It's that accountability. So one of the biggest things, and the reason I made this membership program, I am a trainer, but when I really did the psychological work behind being a trainer, there's tons of studies out on this that I realized that I needed to go into the coaching business because only 15% of any training that you ever go through is actually retained. That's all you remember is 15%. Only 3% is ever implemented. That means all the money that you've spent, all the time, which is more important than money, that you have wasted on ongoing trainings, you've probably only implemented 3%. That's crazy. What makes the difference is coaching. When you can take those trainings and add coaching, that statistic on implementation goes up to 85%. Okay, so you really need to ask yourself, is your time really only worth 3%? Is that it? 85% is so much better implementation, and that is why we do it the way we do it. I know my program, when you come in, I could just give you all the trainings, right? And I could probably honestly charge the same amount. But if I don't include that piece of coaching, if you don't have your advisor, my advisors are here to keep you accountable, right? And when you don't have that, your level of success goes from 85% to 3%. I am not going to waste your money with a 3% success rate. That is just a waste of your time and your money, and I am not going to do that. So that is why implementation. So I have to put Shayla. Shayla just jumped in the chat. All of my old trainings are in a filing cabinet. Membership training is implemented with your coaching and training. Yes, thank you, Shayla. So Shayla is actually one of my members. She actually is a part of our membership, and she pays to be with us. And that's part of the reason I did this. When I was really stepping into the role of trainer, and I was going to just do a training program. And I was really diving into the psychology behind training. And when I read those statistics, I thought, I can't do this. I'm a business owner myself. I value your investment too much to just take your money without coaching you. I'm not going to give you something that's just 3% effective, right? And when I saw that difference a lot, I've got to figure out how I'm going to really get that training with the coaching in. And that's why we created the Child Care Business Professionals Mastermind program. So yes, Shaylin is a star student. And you know, you guys, there is no magic pill to anything. But if you do the work and you lean on the support that we provide for you, you can be unstoppable. I guarantee it. So I hope to see many of you guys on our office hours next week. I'm excited to start working with all our new people who have come into our program. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody, and go take care of yourself. Self-care is vital.